What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for some more MTG Arena gameplay. My name is Ben, and today we're going to be piloting our Sultai Midrange deck that received quite a bit of positive feedback from our last video, so thank you so much for that. It did pretty well last time. We actually had the most difficulty with some of the new Esper control decks that are coming up as a result of the Mythic Invitational and just success in other tournaments. So we've actually made a couple of modifications to our deck. Namely, we've removed the growth spirals, which I do love. It was a tough call, and they really serve you very well to get ahead in that tempo, that race for mana. But in order to better match up against some of those Esper control decks, we've added another Thought Erasure, and we've also added 2 Disinformation campaigns, as well as our Discovery and Dispersal here. So I'm going to try a little bit of a hand disruption package today, and we'll see if we can't. I'm sure we won't be lucky enough to avoid those Esper control decks, which were giving us a little bit of trouble earlier. But let's go ahead and jump right into a game. As you've seen the deck list there, so let's see how we do. And of course, saying that, making those changes, you know how it goes. We'll probably play 5 red decks in a row, and I'm sure we have that in store for us. And up against Aphex with the with the red Planeswalker avatar, we are in good shape. Looks like this is going to be a keep for us. I don't know that we're going to get that Thought Erasure off turn 2. With our Evolving Wilds and Woodland Cemetery combo, we're not going to have a way to have blue and black, but you just never know. On the draw, we may get exactly what we need. Our opponent mulligans, so that's always good. Let's see if they play a mountain like we're expecting. Nope. Godless Shrine coming down, so we may very well get that Esper control matchup that we were talking about, and for that reason, I think that we are going to let's actually use our Evolving Wilds Forest Swamp, and that way we'll be able to play our island turn 2. Although that is going to cost us Jade Light Ranger turn 3, so I'm not sure that I want to do that. Alright. I think we're going to do it that way anyway. We are... Yeah, maybe they'll take Thought Erasure from us. We'll just have to see. And that is exactly what they did, so no problem. We are just planning on playing Jade Light Ranger, although they do know exactly what we have in our hands, so not a terrific start, although we have plenty of mana. Theoretically, if we can sneak our Muldrotha down, that's probably Jade Light Ranger. Not really sure what they're thinking about, because they know both the cards that we have in our hand. Yep, there goes Jade Light Ranger, so this is rough, but still very early in the game. Eldest Reborn is another very strong card, so assuming our opponent, drops a Planeswalker, we have an answer for that. We can get some of our value cards back. As for right now, we're happy to just play land with them. We've got land, so no worries about running out. They cannot cast that Chemist's Insight, so that's cool. We are just going to pass it back. We'll probably play that Muldrotha. Hopefully we can get them to tap some of their land. We're not just going to play it right into counter magic, but if something does happen to it, we can get it back with the Eldest Reborn, assuming they're not sitting on a pile of Mortifies over there. Yeah, we are just a little flooded is what's going on, so but we'll see the Chemist's Insight at the end of turn here, and they're actually going to miss that, so unless they have a hand chock full of good stuff, and really this is not great that that our opponents are also not missing their land drops, as our deck is just full of value, but you know, I guess we'll start drawing their counter magic out here. We'll go for this Path of Discovery that doesn't really mean anything to us. I pretty much expect them to have an Absorb or a Negate at least. Yep, we pretty much knew that's there. They only have so many pieces of counter magic in their deck, and we actually have some recursion tricks up our sleeve, rather, so, you know, we can bait out some of their counter magic early, and we can get a key spell like a Muldrotha through. Although they know we have that in our hand right now, so probably not. Hey, there's something that we could have used a long time ago, a Merfolk Branchwalker, so let's start, you know, getting that removal out of their hand that we imagine that they've got plenty of. We've seen such little action, I'm almost tempted to just keep that there. I think I am going to look for more powerful cards, and we'll pass it right over. See if they remember to play the Chemist's Insight this turn. They are going to take their time. Inspired a drink break while they're waiting for us. No, I see they're here. Perhaps they fear our non-existent counter magic. Bonding time, everybody. Alright, here we go. So, disinformation campaign. Let's see if we're going to be able to draw any removal, or if they're going to have any reaction to us just beating them for 3. We're going to want to get that out of the way first and limit their options for counter magic. No problem. We are just fine with that. And if they do have counter magic, we can sneak that Muldrotha down. And they do, so that's going to allow us to get this into play. Whether or not, you know, they're just going to have another piece of removal to get rid of it immediately. You know, here comes Vraska's Contempt or whatever. That's still a good play for us. So we're going to make them use it. We've already drawn some removal out of their hand. We've drawn a lot of counter magic out of their hand, and we're about out of resources, but if we're able to actually untap with Muldrotha in play, we're going to be at a huge advantage. So much for that. But I think that we're going to go ahead and drop the Eldest Reborn, even though they don't have a creature or planeswalker, just so we can get them to discard that card. If they don't have a Mortify or a way to get rid of it, you know, that's ultimately going to get Muldrotha back, and we can cast the Eldest Reborn again, and so on. Continue to generate that advantage out of our deck. Alright, well, not a bad time for us to draw our own Chemist's Insight, as Mortify takes care of the Eldest Reborn. We'll just go ahead and phase that, see if we can come up with some action. And find Finality. what we're looking at. And it looks like Muldrotha and Jadelight Ranger, as they just have one card in their hand. So we will go for it and hope that they're not just sitting on excessive counter magic. I know they have the option to play Chemist's Insight, so just because this is taking a minute doesn't mean that they're waiting on, or that they have counter magic. Alright, we got our Jadelight Ranger back, and I think we're just going to go ahead and play our Forest so that we can play that. That's going to keep us off of playing Chemist's Insight. But we're good with that. Yep, we know you have Chemist's Insight, so we're just going to get a land here. Walker, we're just going to throw into the graveyard, and we did get a land, so we're going to save that for Chemist's Insight. Play it with Muldrotha later. This is actually pretty much right where we want to be. We've run them to out of resources in their hand. They're down to 2 cards, so, and we have our Chemist's Insight. We're the ones with a creature on the board. We've got Muldrotha in our hand, and they know it. So there's Teferi. That's obviously a problem. That's their win condition. That's what we're going to be trying to get rid of. Just as soon as we play Muldrotha, you know, we're going to be throwing down. And I can't really believe that they just did that to get rid of that Jadelight Ranger as we draw another one. Let's see if we have a land we can play out of our graveyard. It's Evolving Wilds. We have 11 mana, so that is Muldrotha along with the Eldest Reborn. So let's just see if that other card is a piece of counter magic. And that was pretty quick. I don't think they have it. So again, we have 5 mana remaining, and we're going to be able to cast the Eldest Reborn. Okay, you know, we get rid of their Spell Pierce, and we're good with that. We'll just start playing Evolving Wilds every turn. They're not able to activate Teferi's second ability to get rid of Muldrotha, so they're going to be able to draw an extra card, but they're basically playing off the top of their deck. You know, we generated 1 piece of card advantage by getting rid of their Spell Pierce, even though we definitely would have preferred to get rid of their Teferi if they're not able to kill Muldrotha. We're getting rid of that. You know, next turn the exact same way. And why waste any time? See if they've got the counter magic for us again. Why don't we get rid of Teferi, please? Alright, and this is the pivotal moment where we've taken the advantage in the game. We have creatures and lands in our graveyard, as we've already played our enchantment, so let's just play Evolving Wilds every turn. Doesn't really matter, and we are going to get Wild Growth Walker out of our graveyard. Start exploring as many times as possible. Alright, it looks like we have 5 land. So I guess that is enough for... Oh, that's enough for Jadelight Ranger and Branch Walker. You know, we're risking running right into Kaya's Wrath. But, you know, if that's the case, we should be able to get Muldrotha back with our Eldest Reborn. So let's just see what we turn up here. I think we are just throwing that in the graveyard because we can play it right out of our graveyard. We'll keep finding canals right there, gain some life, and actually going to hold our Branch Walker here. We'll play it a little close to the vest. Let's see. probably run right in to settle the wreckage with my luck, but we'll pass it over to him. We're showing 13 points of damage. I guess that Branch Walker would have been lethal. We probably should have got that down, but we can add to our Wild Growth Walker and still make it lethal. So discard a card means half your hand, please. And that was negate. So, and opponent's just gonna scoop it up. So, I hate to say it, but we, you know, here in the silver tier, we called our shot, made an adjustment to the deck to have a little bit of a more solid matchup against control. And even though it took a while, it really looked like we weren't in good shape there. They decimated our hand early in the game. We were able to eke out the victory and ultimately come out on top. So let's jump into another game. All right. And this is a very nice hand, as we can curve right into Wild Growth Walker and then Jade Light Ranger. Go ahead and Flare Forest. Do draw Thought Erasure here early in the game, so we should be able to take out the critical 3-drop. We are playing Gruul. I think that we're gonna dig for some land. Probably save that Thought Erasure for next turn, but scoop a couple land out of the deck, and there's 2 of them. That's what's up, so just as good as drawing 2 cards. Not terribly scared of the Growth Chamber Guardian. We'll get our Hinterland Harbor down. Just trying to decide if we're going to go with Thought Erasure, if we're going to go with Thrashing Brontodon. I would bet that they will take the 2 if we attack, which is probably what we're going to do. Oh... Brontodon is no good. I think we have to see their hand. We're going to have plenty of time to get our Brontodon down between then and the Krasis. They have all of the Growth Chamber Guardians in their hand already. That is beautiful. Take their 3-drop. Timeout, for shame. I think we're going to keep our Fine Finality right there, as long-term we end up casting our Hydroid Krasis a whole bunch of times. So our opponents have some pretty good creatures in their hand. I just think that's so funny. They have every single one of the Growth Chamber Guardians. They have no land, oddly enough, so... You know, unless they draw a land, we're just going to see another Growth Chamber Guardian down for him, but you know, it's a Spellbreaker, no big deal. And I think that we are going to use Fine Finality to get Walker and Ring back. That way we've got a really solid play next turn. We can dig for a bunch more land and play our Krasis. It's going to be, you know, a lot smoother. Meanwhile, no blocks. We're taking 4. Let's gain some life and beef up our side of the table a little bit. So 6 life, some land. Yes, 2 more. No worries that our Ranger is a piddly 2-1. Pass it right back, and all of a sudden, we've got this Gruul deck in a pretty bad spot. And they just have to say go. Disinformation campaign. Well, disinformation campaign plus Chemistry's Insight is a pretty good turn for us, and we have the benefit of just sitting back and enjoying what we have going on. And we're just going to pass. We'll be drawing 2 cards at the end of turn here. They're definitely the beatdown, you know, at this point in the game. We're the deck with the longevity. We've got the card advantage. We're actually above 22. Whoops, sorry. I'm giving a lecture, and I need to be letting things resolve. So, in the meantime, our Thrashing Bronodon's holding things down. No artifacts or enchantments for him. Bring it on, we say. And Chemistry Insight. Well, it is tempting to just cast that Krasis now. I think that we're gonna put our Walker and just discard a forest to see if we can't find some more stuff to explore with. And oh, all the win more power cards in our deck come flying right out. So we'll just pass the turn back. Do wish we had something to say about that, but I think that that just means that Hydroid Krasis coming down next turn, they might, honestly, they might just concede. We'll see. Alright, and time to punish them for attacking into us like this. We are going to end up destroying 2 of their 4/4s, and they are going to destroy our 2/1 and our 1/3. I guess they will get our Thrashing Bronc gone, and their Shock, so yep, that's just fine, as we're going to be playing everything out of our graveyard very soon anyway. And we're going to have an enormous Hydroid Krasis and a bunch of extra cards in our hand this turn. So 5, looks like 9 total mana, Krasis for 7. Cards here. Our Jade Light Rangers will do just fine. No attacks. We'll discard this land and we'll get back with Mending a Dominaria later. And our opponents have to figure out, drawing off the top of their deck, how they're going to get out of this situation. I would say this is about the point of the game where the situation's getting pretty dire. So we will see. Alright, well, why don't we just go ahead and play the Mending of Dominaria. Oddly enough, while we have everything going for us, we really have no incentive to get aggressive right now. Oh, a Hostage Taker, that'll do just fine. And we will just play that Hostage Taker, get rid of that Rekindling Phoenix. They might have a Lightning Strike or something in their hand, but this is probably just going to allow us to swing with that Krasis. And that's what we're going to do. Threaten the 3-turn clock, so we'll see if they have. Yeah, not thinking about the reach there, but Krace is still trampling over. It is still a 2-turn clock. You know, putting them at 13. So we'll see what they're able to shock themselves right before the concession. It's about what I expected. So again, took control of that game, able to get it taken care of, and so far 2-0. So no complaints. One control matchup, one aggro matchup, and things are looking very good for us so far. But we can't stop now, my friends. We must continue. We must face Lord High Mason. On the draw, we're looking like one of those Esper control matches. One of those Esper control decks. Okay, so we've got white aggro. Would be really nice to get the disinformation campaign down and then play a Thought Erasure. Not sure. I think that is how we're going to do it. We're going to be a little greedy and see if it can work out for us. So, go ahead and play our Woodland Cemetery now in case we draw our Jade Light Ranger. We are not going to be wasting cast down on this Healer's Hawk unless they try to enchant it somehow. Probably will. Kill this Johnny Pridemate so he does not get out of control. So, although we have a Healer's Hawk on the other side of the table, our opponent's down to 3 cards. We're only at 18. Things are looking good. Here comes Disinformation Campaign, so we're going to start that card advantage working for us. Vivian Reed's also another way that we can destroy that stupid Healer Hawk. And sounds good to me. Our opponent's discarded a good card. Alright, and there's your argument for playing that Thought Erasure earlier. Which I feel like is what we have to do right now. And that's going to get the Benelith Marshal out of their hand. We do not need that Wildgrave Walker right now, so... Excuse me, get Disinformation Campaign back, and it's about inevitable that we're gonna take some damage from these knights. We really need that fine finality now to wipe the board, so we do not get it. Vivian will die if we play her here, but we are looking at taking like 11 damage next turn, so that hurts quite a bit. Yeah, I think we about have to play Vivian to get rid of that History of Benalia, which is quite unfortunate, but sometimes you have to do things like that, so that's how it's gonna go. It's not only gonna save us the damage from these knights, but they're also gonna have to redirect at least one of their attackers to kill her, unfortunately. So here we are, pretty much holding out for a fine finality, which we have 3 copies. Drawing 1 will totally wipe our opponent's board. You know, basically, oh yeah, our opponent forgets to attack us. So whoops, over there. I I think it's Chemist's Insight here. Our opponent has no cards to discard, so... Ugh, and the land. Oh, the land. And it looks like we're in line to take 9 damage next turn. No such luck on the Fine Finale. Just more land. So... now we're about out of options. I guess we just really need something on the ground to block. We're about out of options because even if we're able to draw into our Fine Finality, we're not going to be able to cast it this turn. So I think it's Chemist's Insight again. We're going to discard a Forest. Oh, whoops. Okay, well that's going to do it, as I failed to play a blue mana there to play a Hydroid Crisis for 1, which would not have saved us anyway. So, we lose to Flood. White aggro does get the best of us there, even though we had many opportunities to draw a Fine Finality, which would wipe their board and saved us, but that's what happens sometimes. On to the next game. Skellen, so I like to falsely attribute my expectations for what my opponent's going to play based on their avatar, and if it's true in this game, we're going to see a red deck. Decent opening hand for us on the draw. We've got Discovery turn 2, and well, it is an aggro deck. Here comes Plains with Legion's Landing, and we'll get Evolving Wilds down. For a swamp. All 3 colors of mana because nobody needs problems like that. Red and white, why not? And I think we're going to be playing Discovery for our turn 2 drop. I think that's exactly what we want, so we will go ahead and draw our Walker with the Fine Finality on top of our deck, so that we can wipe the board when we do get 6 mana. We're showing 5. Things are looking pretty good for us. That Walker should be able to block until our opponent gets the City's Blessing, which is still a couple of turns away at this point. So this is a good opportunity to play our breeding pool, since we'll only need 2 mana. And we've got something to make them think. Our opponents are going to be transforming Legion's Landing right now. We'll go ahead and draw the Shock or Lightning Strike out of their hand to finish off our Wild Growth Walker, or that was a not good play. Legion of Benalia is about the best thing to follow it up with, and we actually have Thrashing Brontodon, so I think that that is going to be the play for us. Benalia is such a strong card that I'm even happy that I play my 3 casting cost card and another mana to sacrifice it, and all that happened out of the exchange was that they got a 2/2 Knight with Vigilance, and I'm still happy about it. We don't have to put up the other 2 turns of nonsense, I say, as they play their 2nd History of Benalia, which will certainly crush me. The plan is definitely going to be to play this Fine Finality before that goes off. We'll block as they're tapped out. And I don't know, maybe they'll have a land and a shock. We'll see. They do not. All right. Basically, it is most important for us to get that fine finality off next turn. So I'm thinking we're going to Chemister's Insight this turn in order to draw some cards and ensure that that happens for us. Other than that, we could play Krasis, or we could play Wild Growth Walker for the extra block. I think I might like Krasis for 3 better. It does only get us 1 card. Does give us the blocker as well, though, so we're going to do that. We've got a way to get it back. I guess we could have played Mending a Dominaria to get Thrashing Bronodon back, but the way that we played it is going to give our opponent some pause into attacking right into us. They may not attack at all. I'll bet they still do. Well, I really wish I knew if we were going to get that land next turn. I think that we are going to block. We're going to plan on getting that land. We've already drawn the extra card. We do get the land. This is a huge FU to our opponent, as we will pay our life and go ahead and put 2+1/+1 counters on our creature, wipe their whole board, and see if they want to concede right now. They just paid 4 life to make their creature invulnerable, which is not going to save it. And yeah, we'll attack the History of Benalia. Your turn. So that was pretty clutch. That's exactly what we were talking about that we needed last game. We play 3 fine finalities for a reason. If you make a lot of early trades in the game, you can use Find to get some of these creatures back. Let's just figure out what we're going to do here. 7 mana. And I think that that's going to be... It's going to be Mending a Dominaria. We're going to get Hydroid Krasis back and throw down Wild Growth Walker. And our opponent's just going to concede, seeing that we have Krasis back. But that's exactly what we wanted to do in the previous game. Again, trade with a couple of creatures early, and you can get it back with Find, or get yourself in a situation where you know, you can wipe out a ton of small creatures like you just saw that right there. Standard's in kind of an interesting place right now, where there are creatures that have more than 4 toughness, but most of them are green. That Galta, you know, 12/12 Trampling Dinosaur comes to mind. You know, things like Carnage Tyrant. But really, it's just, you know, 1 or 2 kind of specific decks that run things like that. So that Finality is usually a board sweeper. There are, of course, exceptions. Interesting hand here. We do have our 2 land plus our Thought Erasure, so we can surveil something to the bottom. It little bit of a risky keep. We really want a second green source so we can play our Jade Light Ranger and be off to the races, but I do like our hand. Wild Growth Walker is a good draw, and our opponent doesn't have a 1-drop, so I actually think that we are going to go for Thought Erasure here over Wild Growth Walker. And probably go for Electrostatic Field. And we'll get this Branch Walker out of the way. Looking for land, so next turn it's Wild Growth Walker. We can use Find to get that Branch Walker back. We'd rather not. Obviously, we'd just rather find our green source. No problem. I don't care about finding Biomancer or at 18. That's what I'm talking about. So here comes Wild Growth Walker. We know that our opponent is shocked, so we will not be blocking. Honestly, we could block, you know, make him use the 2-for-1, end up getting back Wild Growth Walker and Branch Walker, which I think is actually the way that I want to play it. We'll get the 2 cards out of him, just not take the damage, force them to use their, you know, force them to use their damage spells on our creature. They can't play their card draw this turn. Oh, no, they can. I'm sorry. Misjudged that, but regardless, I'm gonna throw down Jade Light Ranger again with Fine Finality in our hand. We're just trying to, yeah, we're keeping that. So down comes Woodland Cemetery. Our opponents are already in trouble. You know, being at 20, we're only at 16, but with 4 mana down, not really doing anything meaningful on this turn as they just cycle through their deck a little bit with some card draw. Because we know they have that shock. We're blocking. Alright, and I believe we're gonna not mess around. And it's gonna be Find. We're gonna go for Wild Growth Walker, Jade Light Ranger. Make him kill it again, as promised. We do have the mana for Vraska's Contempt. We are a little bit light on mana as we just missed our 5th land drop. Yeah, 3 damage, who cares? You know, honestly, if we get another land, we can we can play the Eldest Reborn, so our opponent's kind of in trouble. I don't think there's gonna be a better target for Vraska's Contempt, so I think it's probably just the move to go ahead and get that. I guess we could play Disinformation Campaign and get that last card out of their hand, which is pretty darn appealing. But I'm not worried. I think we're just going to go ahead and move their creature. We're going back to 16. Let's make them show us what that card in their hand is. And again, things are looking pretty grim, as they don't have a threat on the board. I'm sure they're going to try to. That is quite interesting. I think we are going to take that first 4 damage. probably have to allow them to draw beyond that unless we start gaining some life. Evolving Wilds is good for us. We're going to get that last card in their hand, which is great. And I guess we'll go for a second blue here. Last card is the mountain, of course. Alright, no action from our opponent, so that's exactly what we want to see. I think we'll just go ahead and take the opportunity to play Vraska. Start making blockers, and they can draw all the cards they want.
My mission is more valuable than your life. Crew, attack at will!
Yep, they just shocked to put me from 12 to 10. Play your Steamkin, play your Mountain. I'm not going to be taking 4 anymore.
Fight them, you maggots!
Out the Eldest Reborn. Again, you know, we know that they have the risk factor, so that's going to be 3 cards for them. But very soon we're going to have our Wild Growth Walker back. We'll move to 3 Jade Light Rangers in our hand. Oh, and we'll just go ahead and put them at 1. And that's that. Fair enough, so up to 3 and 1 as we climb through the free-to-play layers of the ladder. Grab our reward card. Alright. And I'm thinking we probably have 1 or 2 more games in us, so this might be, if this is a really good game, we'll make this the last one. Otherwise, we'll go for another one, try and go out on a win, as we always like to do that. So, decent opening hand, although we do not have black. Our opponent's going first, so we'd like to see, yeah, I was gonna say we'd really not like to see a mountain, but why would anything go the way that we want it to? Let's get green and blue out since we have no 1-drops. We have no black, so that Hostage Taker and the Cast Down are dead in our hands until we're able to find some, but we do have insight, so it's really just a matter of surviving. Alright, and there's our black mana, so it's going to be good enough for Cast Down next turn and Hostage Taker the turn after that, so should leave us. Ugh. Another creature. Wasn't necessarily expecting that, but we'll see how low they get us. It's gonna be Cast Down still. So we'll attack the scariest, or we'll cast down the scariest thing that's attacking us. Right now, that's stupid Baishino Pyromancer. But it's tough to ignore Gutter Snipe. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I guess we'll, okay. I'm just thinking about all this. We can take that, well, yeah, we can take the Firebrand and use it to shoot the Pyromancer, but how are we going to handle this? So if we take the 4, we're going to 9. We cast down. I think that we're just taking the damage. I think we're going to cast down Gutter Snipe. Hopefully they don't have a shock on top of it right here. We're taking 4, we're going to 9. We'll probably take their Firebrand and try to sneak the kill in on the Pyromancer, so we'll see how that goes. Here goes nothing. So we can block the Lava Runner. Oh my gosh, we're at freaking 6. We're about to go to 4. So hopefully they don't have a land at Banefire, or we're SOL. Yeah, that's a problem. That is rough. I don't see us gaining life. Yeah, well, that's good enough. You could have just shot me with it, but that's 5. Good job on the play from our opponent. Alright, we moved to 3 and 2, so at least that was a quick game. Again, like I said, we will... Oh, and we have just one more to go to get our Ravnica pack, so why don't we win this game? We'll open that pack and call that a stream. I hate seafood, so I'm going to have to defeat them in this match. Plenty of mana, no black mana. Perhaps I'll have to add an extra swamp or an extra black source, you know, as a result of the extra thought erasure, the new disinformation campaigns. But overall, Wild Growth Walker is one of the cards that you want to see in your hand the most, and Jade Light Ranger right behind it is beautiful. So we have an excellent 2 and second and third turn play this game. Nobody's going to control, I guess they're going to have white permanents, so night amounts will be larger soon enough, but for now we can block. Surprised they didn't attack and bluff, but they will keep us off of attacking. Alright, so let's see what Jade Light Ranger can turn up. Hydroid Graces is staying right on top of our deck, and we appear to be in great shape. Sort of at a stalemate on the ground. We have a ton of land and a Hydroid Graces, so we're right at home. Unfortunately, we do have a black source. And we can't target our opponent. Why can't we play our Thought Erasure? I'm outraged. Alright, we are just going to pass it back to our opponent if we have to take, 3 damage from this Angel. No problem. Oh, and it would have been nice to get that stupid History Benalia out of their hands, so that's a shame. Grab a second black source. We have second blue source in our hand. And unfortunately, we just have to pass it back. So that History Genalia is gonna make another night. We're gonna be taking 3 through the air again. But it's gonna be next turn, most likely. The Hydroid Crisis is coming down, so 2 extra cards. Get a little bit of this life back. We're still above 20, so not really in danger. This is another one of those situations where a Fine Finality would just wipe the board and, you know, obliterate our opponent, basically. So here's our 6th mana. It's going to be Hydroid Crisis for 4, and that should slow things down for him. Let's draw some cards. Let's gain some life. Game out. Second Wild Growth Walker is not bad. No problem. We'll get that back. Second Wild Growth Walker and a Branch Walker. Kind of silly. We have every single one of the Thought Erasures in the deck in our hand right now, so it would really be nice to get rid of that Angel. And this is going to hurt. Not sure why they are not attacking with their Angel, but I think we're going to block on these Knight tokens, and we're going to be taking 10. It hurts, but we are going to gain some life. Oh, we're going to gain quite a bit of life. So we get our second Wild Growth Walker down. See what our opponent thinks about that. 6 life, please. And we're actually all of a sudden going to be in a position where we can attack. Settle the wreckage, it's Seal Away, so that's fine. Even with the clutch Seal Away from our opponent, they really... Ugh. Yeah, we're in great shape, and then they played Lyra Dawnbringer, so we'll see. That's actually a pretty good draw. Let's see what Chemistry's Insight can find for us. Turn to do that. Actually, we throw out the Path of Discovery now. So if we get any creature into play, we'll start gaining life. We're going to be forced to hold off from attacking for the moment, and we are definitely in the danger zone. Never safe with the Lyra Dawnbringer out. Really use our Vraska's. Cast down. Not going to be doing it against this legendary creature, so that's too bad. We are absolutely going to be gaining some life if we can find a creature. And we're going to need to do that. Get rid of Overgrown Tomb. Okay. That is what I'm talking about. So we're going to go to full control. And we're going to get our Wild Growth Walker back before all this exploring business happens. Oh, and I had not yet figured out the extra Path of Discovery trigger. Oh, that is nice. Um, I think we just have to pass, unfortunately. As much as I want to attack that Wild Growth Walker is keeping us alive, but we're climbing out of the danger zone as our opponents have this Lyra Dawnbringer and the voice of Plenty here, Shalai. Don't say that one out loud just too often, but we have Mending of Dominaria, which will allow us to get another Hydroid Krasis. That's pretty much our plan. Jade Light Ranger and Hydroid Krasis. Alright, sorry, we have 10 mana. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this. I think that we might be using our Finality. We're just going to take a timeout here, I don't care. We might be using our Finality to kill their 2 Knight of Malices, so they're going to be forced to block, although they're at 42. I think we're just going to overpower them. So we'll go for Jade Light Ranger and Hydroid Krasis. Play Jade Light Ranger, still raise them, gain more life, keep the Hydroid Krasis on top of our library, and watch Inevitability really start to become an issue for our opponents. And I guess we can play Mending of Dominaria. It's tempting. I don't think we're going to. We're going to maximize our efficiency. I think we are just going to start hitting them here. We have 7 and 8 power. Yeah, they're indicating that they have settled the wreckage, so yay. Really makes me want to play cast down on our own creature. But you know what? That's fine. We'll just play even larger Hydroid Krasis. Our opponents want to taunt us, but they're not going to win this game, so that's fine for us. We'll just go ahead and get all the rest of the land out of our deck. And I guess we're done. So that was a wrench in our plans, absolutely. But again, we have all kinds of Hydroid Krasis casting and all sorts of Mending of Dominaria happening. So we'll see how it goes. the only way that we can punish them for attacking us is to gang up on one creature and make them lose something, so we'll take 15. And it's time for us to play Hybrid Krasis. So we have 12 mana, Krasis for 10. I have to just discard these Thought Erasures. We'll never find a Vraska's Contempt that we're looking for. We also have Vraska the Relic Seeker, so that's just as good. No attacks, and hopefully they've got creature removal, because otherwise they're going to be forced to stop attacking. Discard 3 cards. Alright, so we will discard a land, but it's going to be 2 of these Thought Erasures that have been no good for us. Well, we're making them think, is the answer. We would be happy to block either one of their flyers with their Hydroid Krasis, as we'll just get it back and gain more life and draw more cards next time. Next turn, rather. Assuming we don't get it removed from the game like we did our 2 walkers earlier. Too soon. These Merfolk Branch Walkers are Merfolk Branch Blockers today. They will literally block any of those creatures that attack us. And honestly, we have enough mana to double Finality. I am definitely considering just playing double Finality, wiping the entire board except for our Hydroid Krasis, and seeing what they think about that. They have 2 cards in their hand, so that might just be the way we have to do it. I think that's going to have to be the play, which is just silly. I've never made a play like this before, so... Oh yeah, we're definitely taking action. Let's make this the biggest Hydroid Krasis we can. Yes, please. Alright, well there goes their entire board. Now we'll play the Thought Erasure that we kept. Look at the other stupid angel that's been bothering us all game. Locking down to 46. Your turn. So that is about what our opponent gets for mocking us. Sorry about the time we attacked and to settle the wreckage, but it's not going to save you. And this one feels good. I don't know what they're going to draw that's going to get them out of this, but bring it on. I'll be expecting the concession pretty quick here, as they're 3 turns, 3 cards off the top of their deck. They better figure something out. Okay, we've got all kinds of good stuff, so let's just show them. I can go to the graveyard. at all of our fancy stuff.
Make your captain proud.
And we just fill our graveyard up with stuff that we can cast, and that's going to force our opponent to concede. So, what a crazy play. The double finality to wipe the entire board except for our large Hydroid Krasis, and we catch them with not much that they can do about it, so I can't think of a better way to end this stream than an epic victory like that. So, 4-2, if I'm remembering correctly, is how we did. So again, probably going to add another black source to the deck, but let's crack open this pack of Raptigo Legions. So there were a couple of games where we were hurting for that black source, but... And what do we got? Mythic Wildcard, so can't beat that. Oh, thank you so much. We made it, guys. What a successful stream. We did better than we did last time, so I appreciate that. Looks like the changes that we made, you know, to face those control decks, even though we only faced the one, we were successful in that very first game. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. Please do subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, follow on Twitter. It makes such a huge difference. You have no idea. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate those likes. I appreciate all those interactions. So again, thank you for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. My name has been Ben, and we'll see you next time.